Jacqueline, and thank you for joining me here on YouTube. This is a new venture for me. I am not one to set up recording equipment and just talk to it. I mean, granted, I'm staring at my phone, but this is still new to me. I am not accustomed as a teacher, a classroom teacher. I'm not accustomed to teaching people that I can neither see nor interact with during lessons and conversations. So please bear with me. I'm not a fancy person. I don't pretend to be. This is going to be very interesting for all of us. So with that said, you can find me on various social media platforms, really not that many, but the two places you can find me will be listed on your screen. And much like my YouTube handle, I am the Sleepy Bee on Instagram and Ravelry. So to move it along here and give you a little bit of a better introduction as to how this is going to be set up, I want to give you a little bit of history first before I go into explaining why I'm setting up this podcast the way that I've chosen to. So I did mention that I was a classroom teacher, am a classroom teacher. I graduated from Shepherd University in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, in the United States, for those of you that are overseas. I graduated in 2006 with a secondary education degree and a concentration in family and consumer sciences, which, because that is a mouthful, I will be referring to as home ec. I took a job right out of college as a home ec teacher at the high school from which I graduated in 2002, and I was teaching fashion design levels 1, 2, 3, and 4, and introduction to needlecrafts, as well as interior design and independent living. My strong points and my passion are sewing and knitting, so that is what this podcast will focus on. First of all, I do really enjoy making my own clothing and wearing my own clothing and showing people that I've made my own clothing and, oh, look at this, thank you, I'm so glad you love it, I made this, isn't it great? It's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling, especially being somebody who didn't really excel at other things in junior high and high school. The home arts really became my creative outlet, and it helped a lot. Okay, so the way the podcast will be set up is it will not be, an hour long or anything like that where I go on and on about, one thing or another or lots of things. What I would like to do is have it set up into 2 different parts. So it would be 2 episodes. My goal is 1 per week. I can't guarantee that I will be able to do that, but that is my goal. So the first one, with this being the exception, this is just the introduction, and I'm hoping and praying for some followers to make this all worth it. We can suffer together. So the first real episode, I will feature something that I am currently working on, whether it be knitting or sewing, something that I have finished, whether it be knitting or sewing, and something that I would like to make, again, whether it be knitting or sewing. And I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the yarn or the fabric used, the properties of it, the design elements of whatever garment or item it is that is being made, has been made, or is going to be made. And we'll talk about how the properties of the fabric can actually add to or detract from the finished product, whether the fabric is made of yarn with our own 2 hands or whether the fabric has been mass produced in a factory or a mill. The second podcast will be, so the first week will be, finished objects and what I want to make. The second podcast will focus on certain techniques that are required for the construction of the garments mentioned in the previous podcast. So for instance, let's say that I am going to be featuring a circle skirt, a full skirt from the Gertie Sews Vintage Casual book, which I have, and I That requires a zipper, and it's on the side. And though many of us beginning sewing, we kind of steer clear of invisible zippers. I did for a long time. Even on my first wedding gown, I did not use an invisible zipper. I used a regular zipper. Um, I want to show you how simple it can be to do these things that seem so daunting and so intimidating. Because, hey, I taught 150 high school students how to do it. I'm pretty sure that I can teach you. You will learn stuff from me because I am a teacher and I am intent on sharing my craft and sharing my knowledge and some shortcuts and tips and tricks with the rest of you, so that those of you who had horrible experiences with your junior high or high school home ec teachers can maybe try it again and see how simple and how fun it can be. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you here again in a little while.